screen up. Ready?
I'd like to call the August 7th, 2023 meeting of the City Council for the City of Lake City to order. Everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for the speech.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather. We thank you for this crowd that came tonight to help with conducting the business of our city. We ask that you guide us, and what we do is pleasing in your eyes and for the betterment of our community. We ask you to bless our citizens, our troops, our first responders, our citizens. In your name we pray. Amen. Sergeant, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Durgan? Here. Mr. Hill? Ms. Young? Here. Mr. Singleton?
Here.
Mayor Whip?
Here.
Mr. Dial?
Here.
Mr. Penn?
Here.
Chief Butler?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Lake City Council has opened its public meeting. Since 1968, the city code prohibited any person from making personal or slanderous remarks or becoming vulgar while addressing the city council. Yelling or making audible comments from the audience constitutes coarse misconduct. Such conduct will not be tolerated. There is only one approved manner of addressing the council, that is to be recognized and speak from the podium. As a reminder, persons are not to openly carry a handgun or carry a concealed weapon or firearm while the governing body is meeting. No proclamations tonight. We have minutes from the July 17th regular session.
Mr. Mayor, motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes as published. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. On approval of the agenda, I'm going to ask that item 13 be moved up to right after approval of the consent agenda, as we have an out-of-town guest that has to drive away back tonight. With that amendment, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor say aye. Opposed? This is public participation. I have two. Jeff Woods.
Here, Your Honor. You want to come up?
Fine, thank you. Good evening. My name is Jeff Woods. I'm a citizen here in Youngtown for approximately the last 8 years. I'm a former paratrooper with the 82nd Government. And I'm unfortunately in this chair due to my service. I have talked with quite a few of your businesses in this town, and I've been told multiple times that because they're not ADA compliant, they're grandfathered in, and that is simply not correct. I've tried to educate and tried to help as much as I can to bring the awareness that somebody like me, I can't use 70% of your facilities here. I've gotten to the point with the parking that it has become an epidemic. I chose to put my house up for sale, then to move forward. Unfortunately, it hasn't sold, and I'm in the position of probably staying here. And the stress that is brought upon me is overwhelming. Your police department do not cite the violators, and they are plenty, and I know everybody in this room knows exactly what I'm talking about, that shouldn't be parking where they park. And I understand that they don't have the staff that they need, the funding that they need. So I'm here to encourage every one of you to please take it in consideration and give them more money, because what's happening in the end is people like me are being discriminated against. When we cannot access the public buildings, when they're not compliant, and I'll just give you one example, JCPenney bathroom, because of my condition, I had to use it. It's not compliant for me in this chair. I drive my vehicle with this chair. I go everywhere with it. I've already spoken with the city manager. I'm not gonna take up this time explaining everything. He can reiterate everything that I've been trying to get across. Mainly, I came here today to tell you, please take in consideration and give them more money to hire more police so they can cite the violators that are parking. If I block them in, I'm in trouble. If they block me in, nothing gets done. 4 times a couple of days ago, I was blocked in one day, 2 right here at the courthouse. I made a comment to one of the sheriffs there about it. When I left all my business, I went there and the vehicle was still there. Nothing was done. Please take me serious. I truly don't want this to go any further legally, but I feel like my back is against the wall and the taxpayers shouldn't have to go through that. This is very easily fixed and I'd be happy to donate my time to help people understand. Make them see what it takes for somebody that's a side entry that has to use your facilities. One more example is Zaxby's. I went to Zaxby's and had dinner yesterday, couldn't open the door and get out because of the way this device is set up this way. The door pulls out this way when you're coming in, but when you're going out, you gotta pull it the opposite way, and I can't do both with one hand. That's a lot of your businesses. Cedar River, Zaxby's, Cracker Barrel, JCPenney, bathrooms in JCPenney. Can't move around in the areas that you need to move around in the shop, only the main house. I could go on and on and on. I'm not gonna do that here.
I appreciate it, and
Please.
thank you, and we will see what we can do. We got budgets coming up in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please see that this police officers really think about that financial issue for them. Appreciate your time.
Steve Faulkner.
Good evening, council members. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to speak for a couple minutes. I'm the athletic director and boys basketball coach at Columbia High School, and I'm here to promote the Boots and Badges charity basketball game this Saturday at Columbia High School. We've got the Columbia County Sheriff's Office, Lake City PD, both city and county fire, and clerk of courts. We'll all be competing for that trophy that they're all so anxious to fight for on Saturday. So I just want to invite you guys to come out and attend. We're going to start at 1 o'clock on Saturday. It's a good thing. I'm happy that Boots and Badges has been able to partner with the boys basketball program and help create some funding and a fundraiser for us. Things that allow me to do things for the guys that they desperately can use. Just wanted to thank you again for giving me an opportunity to promote it. I've given you guys a flyer. If you can make it Saturday, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
I got this.
So, do you have the county commissioners competing in this?
Because
Because
the clerk of courts. No, they're not. But when I went and spoke with them 2 weeks ago, they said they would love to maybe in the future have a team and.
Because these I think we could take those county commissioners.
Next year I think we should make this you guys and them, and we'll make sure y'all match up in the first round.
Yes, that's what I need to see. And,
If we can make it happen.
we still got a few more days, and I'll get in shape just to compete against those
You
county
make it happen
commissioners.
tonight, you call me and I'll call them and we'll get it going.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It wouldn't be a contest.
It would be. Y'all slaughter. I would watch it. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next is nothing on the consent agenda. We have item 13. City Council Resolution number 2023-087. Kenna, would you read that by title?
Let me find that one. I had them in order.
87.
What page is it now, Jim? Here it is, 087. City Council Resolution 2023-087. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, constituting the fiscal year 2023-24 preliminary fire assessment resolution, providing authority, providing purpose and definitions relating to the provision of fire protection services, facilities, and programs in the City of Lake City, Florida, confirming previous resolutions as amended, reimposing fire protection assessments and establishing fire protection not to exceed assessment rates, directing the preparation of the preliminary assessment roll, authorizing a public hearing and directing the provision of notice thereof, providing for application of assessment proceeds, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. This is to set our fire assessment rate at the top, not the final decision, but like we do with our millage rate. We have Ms. Susan Shobley, attorney here, that helped set these rates. Ms. Shobley, did you want to say anything to us, or just ask questions? Or?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Council. Glad to see you here tonight. I'm here for any questions you might have. I don't really have a presentation prepared, but I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can to assist the city manager.
Anybody got any questions? If there's no questions of her, is there any motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
so I'd like to make a motion for the scenario one that was presented. Now, my understanding is, before I completed though, this is just for the ad. This is just for the, not our final decision.
That's correct. We can go down, we can't go up. That's why I agree with number one, because it gives us some room to set our budget, and we've already set the millage rate maximum. So, did you want to say something?
Yes, sir, if you don't mind, if I could just add a little more to that.
Sure.
It sets the maximum that you can impose that will be shown on both the newspaper ad and the mailed notices. So because the rates are going up, every property owner in the city will receive a mailed notice. It won't be part of the trim, it'll be a separate letter, which you've done that process in the past. And should you get to the public hearing on September 11th and want to lower it, you would still need to look to revised rates that have been provided by Ganesh, who is the company that's the technical consultant. The rates don't move in the ordinary way that you might think, so a reduction in the budget may not reflect the same dollar difference in each rate. So if there's a change in the budget or in what you want to do, you would need to involve Ganesh in modifying what those rates might be. So it might be another scenario, or if you come up with something different, they could run that through the rate calculation process as well. But it's not as simple as saying 5% off the budget is 5% off every rate.
Right.
It's a little more complicated than that.
We have our budget workshop next week, I think the 15th and 16th. So if we change something at that time, we need to get in touch with them.
Yes, that would be good. That would be plenty of time to prepare for the September 11th public hearing. And nothing is final until you make your decision on September 11th after a public hearing, and you adopt an annual resolution that would set the rates that would be incorporated into the tax bill.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sampson made a motion to put scenario one. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We got the budget workshop in a couple of weeks, and I think that gives us some ability to look at it and do what we think's in the best interest. Ms. Hicks, will you call the roll?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Young? Mayor Whit?
Yes. Okay. Michelle, thank you for coming.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Getting back to the agenda. We have presentations. The first one is Dr. Erica Mayo, the PowerPoint presentation.
Hello, I'm Dr. Erica Mayo. and I have a presentation. How do we get it going?
I'm pulling it up.
So do I just tell you and then click the next slide, or how does that work?
You just point to me when you're ready for the next slide.
Okay.
1 second. I lost my mouse over there. Where'd I go? I'm trying to find where my mouse went. Here, let me do it this way. I can start it this way. Come here. Over. And we'll start this way.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Erica Mayo, and I'm presenting today to utilize the drive-through building, calling it a drive-through pharmacy in advance, the drive-through building that's right across the street in the same parking spaces here, to change it into a drive-through pharmacy, because from my knowledge, there's no current or future use that is set forth for that building. And at the current moment, there is absolutely no healthcare in this area. And I thought it would be a very great idea to bring a drive-through pharmacy to the community. So who is Dr. Mayo? I am a graduate of Florida A&M University, Doctor of Pharmacy program. Only the Rattlers are the best. I am certified to test and treat. There are only a few 100,000 pharmacists in the state of Florida that are certified to test and treat. I happen to be one of those certified pharmacists. I will explain what that is later throughout the PowerPoint. I am certified to collaborate with other physicians in the area or anywhere to do agreements on medications for their clients, to be able to receive service at a higher or faster level, so that if they run into any issues, we can make changes right then and there, and I'll explain that as well. I am certified to read lab orders and to evaluate labs. I am working on my diabetes education certification. That should be done before the end of this closing year. And I am certified to immunize any type of immunization that a person may need. I am also a consultant pharmacist. My past growth or experience, I was pharmacy manager at CVS from the time that I graduated pharmacy school until I decided to explore other options. During that time, I was a part of acquisitions with the pharmacy where we brought out DeSoto, we brought out Kmart and Perry, and we brought out other pharmacies throughout the state. It was at that moment that I realized that CVS wants me to be an owner for them, and I'm not their owner. So I needed to take my own path. So that's what kind of got me out of CVS. Nothing wrong with CVS, loved it. It was a really easy job, very comfortable, but I wanted better for myself. I've opened up immunization clinics to help with the large amount of flu vaccinations and COVID vaccinations that were needed. I am very experienced with team building. I thrive on excellence of service. I have recovered 3 stores, one here in Lake City that was crumbling, one in Tallahassee that was crumbling, and a store in Perry area that was crumbling. So I am very familiar with building a store from its wits end where it's about to fail to bringing it back up to excellence. When I started at the CVS on Highway 90, we were the absolute bottom store in the district. They brought me in to see if I can recover that store. I brought that store up to the #1 store in the district. I have recovered millions of dollars for CVS and other pharmacies. I am established professional relationships with the local physicians in the area, Dr. Randolph, Dr. Strauss, Dr. Gavi, you name it, I know all of them. I am born and raised from Columbia County. My only time away from Columbia County was while I was at the great Florida A&M University. And I am a current business owner. I have a transportation company with my family that we started 2 years ago, and we have grown to be one of the top 3 transportation companies in the area in just 2 short years. So, what is the purpose of turning that into a drive-through pharmacy? Well, it's safe and convenient. Now we're in times where COVID was widespread, and we are now hearing that it is coming back pretty rapidly. So the service of a drive-through, you drive in, You are inside of your vehicle, it's safe, you don't have to come in contact with other individuals, so you don't have to worry about spreading other illnesses or helping to make the pandemic go faster or slower. You don't have any effect of it because you're inside your own personal space, and you don't have to worry about coming into contact with other individuals. It's to improve customer satisfaction. While I was at CVS, I can average fill a prescription in a drive-through in about 45 seconds if you bring me one prescription. It doesn't take that long when you don't have a lot of distractions. So if I pull that drive-through open first thing in the morning, you come there and you have a prescription, it's just one on there, I would fill that script really fast for you. Don't leave, please don't leave, because I'd rather you not come back. Because if you come back, you have to wait. And nobody likes to wait. So if you can get your script and go home, it saves you a trip to the pharmacy. It's an efficient alternative to curbside and delivery. We will offer that delivery, but it is an alternative to delivery. It improves medication adherence rates. When you don't have to go back to pick up that medication, you get it while you were there the first time, you're more likely to take your medication. If you have to come back, things happen in life. We're very busy individuals. So you may forget to go back to the pharmacy and oops, there goes one dose of medication that you've missed. There goes the second dose. Next thing you know, your doctor's having to change your medication because you've missed about 6-7 doses and your blood pressure or your cholesterol has gotten out of whack. Now you have to start a whole new medication and get acclimated to another dosing regimen. And it's just a little bit much when you miss those days. So being able to drive through the pharmacy and just stay there and wait for your prescription is very rewarding. We are in a population in this community where we have a lot of elderly individuals, a low income area, we have disabled individuals, and the household sizes may benefit from being here. If you have kids, you don't always want to get out of the car, especially sick kids. You want your kids to be able to stay in the car. We can't just leave them in the car. There's so many kids that are having serious events happening because they're being left in a car in different situations that I know. You can't even leave elderly in the car for that long because anything can happen. If your car cuts off and they're in the heat for too long, that can lead to a very drastic situation. And then we will be just replacing history. There was Collins Drug Store. It stayed until the owner was ready to retire, and also DeSoto, which I was really good friends with Mr. Houston that was there, the owner of there. And they just stayed until they were ready to go. So it was not that the population needs it. They didn't leave because they were not surviving in the area. They left because they got older and they were ready to retire. You have face-to-face personalized service. When you're at our drive-thru, you are the only customer that we can talk to because only one car can come to the drive-thru at a time. So when you're there, you receive your consultation. Whatever questions you may have, you don't have to feel rushed because there's so many people standing there looking at you like, oh God, will they please leave? So you don't have to worry about feeling rushed. It's going to be fast, efficient, and accessible health care. No long wait times. The collaborative pharmacist practice agreement, which I'll explain later, will help to improve your service times and outcomes. We have decreased distractions, so we don't have to worry about ringing up the customer's milk and soda and chips and all of that. We'll just be ringing up their prescriptions. We will also offer delivery. As I mentioned, we have our own transportation company. So what that has done is played up different scenarios in my head. How can we make this work? We won't charge for delivery in county, but my vans run to Gainesville quite frequently throughout the day. So say you drop your script off, you have to go to work in Gainesville, and you know you won't make it back before our pharmacy closes. If I have a van going that way, there's nothing wrong with sending your prescription that way. All of our drivers are background level 2 check. We have cameras in our vehicles, and they are all very, very good citizens. So we have no worries. They'll be able to take your prescription to Gainesville. So that's a service that we'd be able to offer that no other pharmacy in this area would be able to offer. Decreased contact, which I mentioned, you won't have contact with other customers. And we will prescribe or have over-the-counter medications on hand, your typical Tylenol, ibuprofen, allergy medications, whatever you may need. That's a very popular item, which will assess the area, the marketing area, and see what is of high need over the counter in this area, and we'll keep that in stock. the advantages of the CPA, which is the collaborative practice that keep telling you guys that I'll get back to. So on average, statistics show that prescribers, your physicians, will make an error at least 5% of the time when they're prescribing that medication. An error such as they wrote the wrong day supply. They wrote it for you to take it twice a day and they put quantity 30. So that only gives you 15 days worth of medication. Stuff like that, if we have an agreement on hand with your physician, we can correct that. And all we have to do is send a fax to your prescription to let them know that we corrected it, versus telling you, hey, we have to call your physician, call them, wait for them to call us back. That's time. Time is of the essence. So if I have that agreement, I can fix that right away without having you come back. 25% of the errors are resolved in greater than 1 day with the collaborative practice pharmacy agreement on hand. So another advantage is you get to save money. A lot of people don't know that some of their over-the-counter medications are covered by their insurance. So your doctor may write you a list. Sometimes they write you a list of things to go get from over the counter. You come into the pharmacy, we know that those things are covered by your insurance. So to prevent you from going in and purchasing that bottle of aspirin or that bottle of Flonase nasal spray for your allergies or that nicotine patch if you're going into nicotine cessation trying to stop smoking, we can reduce that down to a prescription and actually fill it as a prescription through your insurance without having to call your doctor first. Because if we have that collaborative practice agreement on file, we could just go ahead and do that. That saves time. You don't have to wait for that fax to come back from your physician. Another advantage is, say you are a diabetic patient. The example here is having metformin for diabetes and Januvia for diabetes. Well, that medication, those two medications can cost you a copay of $15 to $20. And if he writes it as two separate prescriptions and you're low on money, well, we can change that and transcribe it to a one prescription, Janumet, which is a combined medication. And instead of you spending $30 that day, you only spend $15 because your insurance is going to charge you the same copay for that combo medication as they would for each individual script. So instead of picking up two prescriptions and having the pill burden of having to take two different medications twice a day, you can take that one medication once or twice a day, save money, time, and everything else. So the test and treat. So like I said, I'm one of a couple of 100,000 pharmacists in the state that is certified to test and treat. So we were allowed to take a course to become certified to treat minor illnesses. So say you call me and you say, hey, I'm feeling really sick. I have chills, I have muscle aches, I have a fever, and I just don't know what to do. Well, that sounds like you have the flu. So I can say, hey, let's get a telehealth call, Zoom call, and let you check your temperature. So you check your temperature, it comes back 103 degrees, you have a high fever, and you've already told me you have the muscle aches, you have chills, and you're just not feeling good. Sounds like a flu. I could come to you or you could come to me and I can test you for the flu. It comes back positive. I can write you that script right then and there, give you a prescription box of Tamiflu, which is the medication for the flu symptoms, and tell you to start your 5-day course. You just save time, energy, and money because you don't have to come to the pharmacy or go to an urgent care center to get tested. We can do that right there and get your script all at one shot, and you didn't come in contact with the rest of the world to spread the flu. Where is it located? It's right there behind this building. So it's in a very, very great geographical location. It's very accessible. I don't recall anyone having any fuss about the location of it when they were paying bills at that particular location. So I don't think that it will cause any issues that I can foresee. Where it's in the location where you're coming out, like we have the right of way. Our customers will have the right of way because there's a stop sign here coming from the courthouse, and there's the red light coming from Marion Avenue. So it's a very great geographical location, and location is everything. So what does it look like? This is what it looks like now. Okay, so you have that building that hasn't been touched. They're using it for storage. It's kind of, we'll go ahead to the next slide. So the remodel, Dr. Mayo style. What do I want it to look like? That's what I want it to look like. Let's remodel that thing, turn it into a pharmacy. It won't be an eyesore for the community anymore. help beautify the area, and make it a drive-through pharmacy. That would be the backside of it. Have the sign there reading off our services. We'll have contact numbers if you have any emergency after hour number. The inside will make it a little cozy. Okay, more of the inside. And then let's reimagine it. So if you couldn't picture it from the pictures, let's watch a little minute and 20-second video.
All right.
That's like realistic Columbia County, y'all.
Wave Beats Music.
That's the pharmacy. So that would be phase one of it. Now phase two, so phase one is just the drive-through. So if this comes through, that would be awesome. I really appreciate y'all because it will help me to advance to phase two. Phase two is I've been working with Mr. Dale Williams, the president of the Lakeshore Authority Board, and for about a year now. So we've been talking about the physical therapy building on the Lakeshore campus, which is also not being utilized. And I want to turn that into a full service pharmacy and wellness center. So I really want to spice it up. So like the pharmacy here would be like the main focus, just the prescriptive area. There at the wellness center, the wellness center will be my main focus, but we will also have a prescriptive department because prescriptions are obviously a part of health. But in the wellness center, it will be focused on education and learning and teaching individuals how to prevent their disease states. So yeah, it's gonna look like, I really want it to look like a little spa area so that like it's very like chic and cozy so that you really wanna come and learn about getting yourself better and not being sick and not taking all those medications. That would be the prescriptive area because the building is like almost 3,000 square, well the side that I want is like 3,000 square feet so I can do a lot in it. That would be like a little exercise. Come hang out with me, do your 20 minutes of physical activity that your doctor keeps telling you to do and you just won't do it. Just come hang out with us and do it because your insurance pays for those exercises that y'all don't know about. So your insurance will pay for it. Your insurance will pay for the education. So you guys can come in and hang out with us at the pharmacy or the wellness center. And then that will be the exam room because, like I said, we're certified for test and treat. I also have the idea of allowing a physician to come in and be in-house so that they can see their customers, see customers in the community so they don't have to travel all the way on Highway 90. Have you guys been on Highway 90 lately? My goodness, it takes forever to get from one side of town to the other. So if they had if there was a wellness center in the community, they could walk there. They could ride their bicycles, or I can come and pick them up in my transportation company, whichever one, it doesn't matter. And that's it. I didn't have a nice little video for the wellness center, but that's because this is about the drive-through, not the wellness. I just want to let everybody know that that is something that's also on the horizon if I am granted access. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I would like to say that your presentation is stunning. I just don't feel like you left anything uncovered. I think it's an awesome, this will be an awesome opportunity. I love it. I saw a video with you driving through I guess you was getting a feel for the drive-through, and I would love to see you on the other side
Thank
of
you.
that drive-through. I
Thank
just think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, when you contacted me about this, it brought back some memories from Collins Drug Store, DeSoto Drug Store. And I think it's a great idea for downtown Lake City. Now, these just questions now. I'm on board 100%, but these
Yes,
just
sir.
questions.
Yes, sir.
Now, you say you recovered some stores,
Mhm.
for their CVS stores? That was, when you say recovered, they was failing?
They were failing. They were crumbling. I was actually asked to go into the store to repair it, meaning like the store had expired medications, like 3-year-old expired medications. I had to hurry up and get those off the shelf. We had narcotics that were out of date. The customer service was subpar, a lot of bad surveys. It was just a lot of loss in revenue. So I literally had to, when I walked into that store, I had one technician at a CVS. And so we all know how busy CVSs are. So I had to hire a whole new crew. My method behind hiring them was to not hire any old dogs, because it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So I hired fresh faces. I got people out of restaurants because they know customer service. So customer service shot up very quickly. And then we also, they're hard workers, people out of restaurants. They are very hard workers. So they know how to, they have to learn that menu that is impossible. I can't remember, and I just go just for my one little meal. But so if they can remember that meal, that menu, surely they can catch on and learn the pharmacy aspect pretty rapidly, quickly. And they came in, they worked numbers, and we built that pharmacy back up. It was failing, like it was bad. So sometimes they have to close doors to get things right, and then sometimes they just put the right people in the place to get things right.
Next question. You say you do testing. On your video, look like someone came out to a vehicle and did a test.
That would have been a COVID shot in that video that they were getting. They did, the nasal swabs that you have to do for COVID. So that was all the vaccination stuff. But like I can test, so say you have a urinary tract infection, we'll have the testing kits on site for you to pee in the cup, see what your pH balance is, and we'd be able to treat you for a urinary tract infection. Our only requirement is that we have to send a notice to your physician within 3 days of treating you and let them know what we did. And so as long as we're compliant with that, we're completely fine with what's going on. So even like skin rashes, if you come in, we can assess your skin rash, see if we think what we think it is, and we can prescribe you different medications for it. So we can test for minor illnesses, cough, cold, strep throat. I almost gave y'all the technical name, didn't want to do that. So strep throat or anything of that nature. So we'll have the testing, the little test kits. I have a CLIA waiver, so I'm certified right now to go ahead and order any type of testing supplies that I need, so that if you come in, we can test you on the spot and get you going. So it's rapid testing per se. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, I got 2 questions. My first question is, as long as I've known the males and knowing you, you have always worked extremely hard and well as far as customer service and getting the things done. I remember when you were at my pharmacy right there at the CVS, and the customer service and the rapidness that you did. I just want to let you know I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So how long did it take for you to realize that, hey, this place is open, let me see if I can get this done? And again, I'm on board with you. I just admire everything about the Mayo family, because of course there's a lot of males out there.
Yes.
And your father and I, we go way back. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And whatever happens, just know that this is an awesome idea that you came up with.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we can't take action tonight, it's a presentation, but we can bring it back up on the agenda, and I guess we need a proposal of, what you're proposing in terms of rent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I had some questions too.
yeah.
When you get
And so if you could get us a proposal that we could kind of work with to get there, Ms. Sampson.
I had a couple of questions, just minor. Great presentation. I think it's something we need here. Getting back to what the mayor mentioned, a couple things. One is, what would you be looking for as the building, like a lease with an option to purchase, or to purchase the building or to rent it? What kind of time frame you're looking at? And then I'd like to see the business plan, because I know you've got one, because if you've got that, you've got a business plan. So I'd be
Well, I didn't bring the business plan because I didn't think anybody would want to see a business plan, because all I'm asking for from the council is the building, if I can lease the building. I do my research, and I did see that the county had leased the school board building to Hal Predator Brewing Company for $1 per year. And if I could get that same type of lease, I would be grateful for it, because it's something that's already been done. So why not do it again? It's quite doable.
that was a bad deal. I can just tell you.
Awesome in my head.
Well, we won't talk about bad deals.
Yeah,
There's a lot of bad deals around. I can think of another one too.
so the deal happened, and so if that means that it can happen, and I would be
I think
grateful
there's a
for
way,
it.
there's a path
So,
to do it for
yes,
sure.
sir. And then, so I'm looking for a 10-year initial lease with 4 5-year options. And I want to be able to have the ability to purchase the building by the end of on or before the end of the initial lease, or anytime during the renewal periods.
Yes. I think one of the concerns I have is we don't know what we're doing with this building yet.
Right.
And that's part of it. I mean, that could be totally separate. I know today I was going by there and it seemed like we're using all the area to park, it looked like. But I don't know.
We're not using it. Other businesses downtown are using the parking.
Yeah. So I think if we determine what we're doing with this building, that's one thing. I like the lease with the lease options. Maybe even on the lease, we could work something out like a revenue-based plan or some kind of plan. I think there's a path forward. I would like to get some more information. I think it's a great idea for the community. So.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Dr. Mayo, one thing I want to say, and Dr. Mayo, as I was viewing your proposal, your presentation here, I was sitting here thinking, and I know you said it's what, 3,000 plus square feet?
Yes, sir.
Well, listening to your proposal, paying attention to all your credentials and looking at your youth and all of the excitement you have, this place not gonna be big enough for you. So let it get you a kick start and get on out of there.
Yes, ma'am.
We appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me present.
All right, our next presenter is Ron Cagle.
Good evening. I'm Ron Cagle, president and founder of Hooked Heroes. After that presentation, I don't know how well I'm going to do. But we take veterans on a one-day free fishing trip.
Hey, if everybody can stand and leave quietly, we can't do this today.
Okay, go ahead.
We take veterans on a one-day free fishing trip. We take an average of 250 to 300 twice a year. All right, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We are all 100% volunteer. We have, so every penny that we get goes to the veteran for his betterment. And we've been told by the VA that what we're doing helps a lot of veterans. Excuse me. Helps a lot of veterans in their need for some type of companionship, get together or something to keep them going. We supply all the needs for the veteran, rod, reel, bait, everything they need to fish with. We take them out of the State Hatching Marina, State Hatching Marina, Dead Man Bay, and State Hatching, we fish the flats in salt water. We need financial help along with people that own boats that would like to be willing to help take these veterans fishing. We supply all the boaters with 15-gallon gas and to take the veterans fishing. The veterans write a check up to and including their life for our freedom. So we should be willing to give them one day of our time to show them we care. I'm here today to request from the City Council $10,000 a year for 5 years for a total of $50,000. Your support will be greatly appreciated, and we would be much needed help as we continue on our showing veterans that people do care. We're going into our 9th year. We've been doing this for 8 years now. I've taken a total of 1,800 veterans fishing in this 8 years that we've been going. Our numbers are growing, our needs are growing, and so that's why I come to you today to ask for this help. And so, if there's any questions now that I can help with, or
On a yearly basis, you say it'd be a yearly trip?
no, we do 2 a year,
Okay, and how many veterans go on that trip?
250 to 300.
And how many of them are from Lake City?
About 70% come from Lake City. We do have surrounding areas that take, some come from, but most of ours come from right here in Lake City.
We, as you heard me say earlier, we got a budget meeting in about a week and a half or so. And we'll be taking those issues into consideration. I don't know if we can obligate ourselves 5 years out, but we can definitely look at it.
Yes, I got a couple of questions. One question is, you said you've been doing this for about 8 years, and so you're in your 9th year, and you take those veterans out to sea fishing twice a year. And when you're taking that 200 or 300 veterans out, a lot of people just don't understand how important it is to do the things that you're doing. Basically, you're doing it for free, but you're looking for assistance from this community to help you get those veterans out to sea. With that being said, 5 years, that may be just a little bit out of the way. However, I'm glad that you went high, and that hopefully whatever we could do to assist, I'm willing to do that because that's so important to me. I don't mind even taking money out of my pocket to help you and those veterans go out to sea, because I know how important it is. I'm a veteran myself. Unless you are one, you don't understand how it messes up the mind. I think I talked to you one time before, when you was in the war, you had a 15 or 20 second time frame to live. You had to survive in that time. If not, you could have been killed. So I'm taking this very, very serious when it comes to those veterans. So keep that in mind whenever you talk to me. I'm a hooked on heroes kind of guy. I'm a veterans as well. So keep that in mind. Whatever we could do, whatever I could do to help you and assist you, I'm willing to do that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, well, we appreciate you coming up. Like I say, we'll be having a meeting in a couple of weeks and looking at these things.
Thank you, sir. Y'all be
Okay, next is ordinances. We're open to public hearing on City Council Ordinance 2023-2253 on final reading. Kenneth, would you read that by title?
Ordinance number 2023-2253, an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida, pursuant to petition number ANX 23-02, relating to voluntary annexation, making findings, annexing certain real property located in Columbia County, Florida, which is reasonably compact and contiguous to the boundaries of the City of Lake City, Florida, and to the boundaries of the City of Lake City, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Okay, this is passed on first reading 7/17/23. Does anybody in the audience wish to speak to this ordinance? If not, we'll close the public hearing and move into adoption of City Council Ordinance 2023-2253, final reading.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion for approval of ordinance 2023-2253 on the final reading.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Hyde, please call the roll.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Young? Yes. Mayor Witt?
Yes. Okay, next is item 5, discussion possible action, Richardson Community Center funding request. Mr. Lyle said he put that on here for the guidance.
What's our idea as far as where we want to get with that? again, I think we got a budget workshop coming up for October forward, and, this year, we still gotta be accepting this year, so I guess you need guidance for the rest of this year.
Mr. Mayor, I was wondering, they attached the approval in here again. We did approve funds that are in the current year budget. I would be in favor of doing something on the basis of a, for the programs, doing a reimbursement up to that. I know the police, part of the numbers, if you go back through it, was the police providing services. I think they're doing that, correct, Chief? And so I believe the number, I have to go back through it, I believe the number's right at 40,000. So but now how would Mr. Dial do that, would be the question. I mean, what would be the preference of staff on how to handle a reimbursement type situation?
Mr. Dow?
Well, I think at this point, council, it's been discussed, about how the city wanted to allocate the funds, whether it's through programs or something along that matter. So it would be my suggestion, I've always been an advocate of reimbursement. If they have a program that they want to fund, for whatever reason, or a STEM program or something like that, because I know that was brought up before by the council, to allocate those funds instead of just giving the funds all at one time. I think this should be done across all the businesses, not businesses, but the community that we give funds to, that from this point forward, we require a reimbursement type system instead of just allocating the funds if we don't know that they're actually spent on this or how much the money's left. It makes it more accountable. It makes the auditing system for the city a little bit cleaner. So that would be my suggestion, but I will go with however the council wants to address this. I'm just trying to get guidance on, like Mr. Sampson said, we have money this year that were allocated for that purpose, but I know the avenues have changed based on ownership and the board taking control. So I just need to know how the council wishes to use those funds, if at all.
Mr. Sampson, is that what you want?
Yeah, I think I would be in favor of of doing it exactly how I recommended, a reimbursement of the services provided. I mean, that way, when we approved it, yes, it was to be owned by the county, but when we were approving it, we were doing it for the programs for the community, not for who runs it. But I think that way, when the program's complete, then we could reimburse based on the funds we have. And I think if they provide something showing, this is what we spent on this program, then it could be reimbursable that way.
Now, are those programs, are they gonna be recreation programs, or are you speaking of any type programs?
What I'd like to see is directed programs where we pick the programs. I know where we are in the budget now. I don't know what we can pick for this last year, but I can think of several programs they've had that I would be in favor of reimbursing now, which would be the summer camp, which is an outstanding program, in my opinion. But I think going forward into the next year, if we're gonna do things, and this is now the time to do it because we're into the budget time, I think we need to determine, more of a framework of what we want to fund. I think that's crucial when we tie it to the upcoming budget. So I'd say with the current funds we've allocated, I would say go ahead and do it on a reimbursement basis based on what we approved up to that expense number. But going forward in the budget we're starting in October, we need to have tightened down, a parameter set. And that way, if their program already fits within the box, then all staff has to do is say, okay, it's in the budget, fund it. I think that would make the most sense for our staff as well. So it'd be a budgeted item.
Well, I wasn't at the last meeting, but we all agreed to help with the programs out there. But my issue is, after we left that last meeting at Richardson Community Center with the city and the county, we all was on one accord. Well, I thought we was all on one accord. But no sooner the meeting was over with, nothing that we agreed on have come to pass. So again, I'm all for supporting programs. But outside of that,
when you mention programs, I like to see for myself what programs that we're having out there. I know we got summer programs where they go and these different trips. They do it like a little work study out there. I seen somebody out there drawing. I seen people out there helping and assisting those young kids. But even with that, I don't see where their programs are being ran effectively. You know, we have a lot of young people that needs guidance, interpersonal skills. Those are the kind of programs that I'm talking about, not playing basketball, dodgeball, or just sitting around not doing anything, or it's a daycare. The parents just bring them out there, just drop them off. I want to see programs structured out there when it comes to those young people. So, and I'm willing to come out there and help and assist, assist wherever I can. But I need to see those programs, and it's a benefit. We're not going to just do it just to do it. I want to see the benefits that comes out of it. So, Mr. Johnson, is he here? Can you come up here just for a second, if you don't mind? Is that acceptable, man?
Yes.
So when you're having those programs, I know everybody here is all for the programs when it comes to those young people over there. So please, when you're having those programs, whatever you do, make sure that that they're learning and they're gaining, not just going out there just to be away from home. That's not like a little daycare, you know. I want to see it structured the proper way.
Well, that can happen. You know, one of the things that we have the ability to do out there is cooking. A lot of kids don't know how to cook. We live in a society today that everything is fast food, but kids need to know how to cook. To really establish families, cooking is a major part of establishing a family. So we can easily institute that, having a kitchen out there. This is somewhat of a problem. It is that we will need city participation on the front end if we have programs in which we have to put forth funding. You have to buy food. You have to have someone who's going to actually train the kids on cooking. That might not come with a volunteer. It might have to come with a person who has culinary skills and able to do it, and we may have to reimburse them for their time that they're putting in training kids how to cook. So it can't all be total reimbursement after the fact. There may need to be some upfront. I wouldn't say, you know, we need the lion's share, because we do have some income from rental, and it's decent. We have income from people participating, such as pickleball and cornhole and that kind of thing. So, but it's going to take a collaborative effort. I don't think there's anything that we could not do, but if the city wants the input, I mean, tell us what you like to see. There are some options that we have out there that we can provide for these kids, but you obviously have to have funding to do that.
I agree with the reimbursement, and I also agree that some of it should be recreation, but some, I totally agree with Mr. Johnson that it ought to be life skills or
yes,
learning, reading or whatever, but life skills are very important in this day.
Very much so.
If I may, and I agree with that. Now, there are two concerns that has been brought to me from those in the community. And one is, and listening, I think we're putting the cart before the horse, because we have a staff problem. We have a lack of employees. And of course, we have to have that in order to provide organized recreation and or any other type of events there. And I won't get into what brought that about. And the other thing is security. Now, what time are are officers there? Law enforcement, what are the times?
Monday through Friday, 4 to 8.
What'd you say?
4 to 8.
4 to 8?
Monday through Friday.
Okay, now that's okay, because I think I was hearing 2 to something.
No, they're
So
there.
4 to 8, and then with school back in, so that'll fit right in with the young people there.
And I've also told the board before, if they have something going on, they just need to give me a heads up so I can reschedule. You know, we do 4 hours, but if there's something there, we need to be there for 6 hours for an event, we'll be there for the 6 hours. We're flexible. But 4 to 8 seems to be what everybody agreed on and what helps the most impact with the kids when they're there. And then we're also there later when some of the adults come in for some of the other functions that they do, that they also have the exposure to the officers in that capacity also.
Okay. Let me, and I said I wasn't gonna say anything, but I did give my word that I would mention. There was something that happened there, an incident that happened that, and it was, it's up to you. But there was a lack of staff participation, and a child was injured. I got the email, and of course I sent it to the person who it should have gone to anyway. I guess they were thinking that the city still had a part with the recreation. But staff is very important, and that's why I said we're putting the cart before the horse. Because if we don't have staff, that these children are in a safe environment, then we don't even need to be talking about recreation, right? So I think we just need to, right now, just hold off until priorities are set in place. Because of course, staff is a top priority in the recreation center. So I wouldn't release any funds at this time. That's me.
Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I could see reimbursing the $26,580 that was spent on the summer camp. I know that's happened, and we got a lot of good feedback on that. And it would be part of the $40,000 that we had assigned. That wouldn't be a reimbursement in advance, that'd be a reimbursement of something that's happened, but it would be a good start. I do think, ultimately, the board over there is gonna need an executive director. Now, funding that's a whole different thing to figure that out. That's gonna be a plan. We gotta figure out how we can do it.
Well, the county has committed to funding the director's position. So that should not be a city responsibility of participation. They have said that they will do that.
I think a director would help tremendously with the scheduling and getting everything done. And I mean, for volunteers to do all of that, it's awful lot for the volunteers.
Yes.
And it's just not gonna be the most effective way, but I would go ahead and do that as a disbursement, as a reimbursement.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Dr. you call the roll?
It's a motion to reimburse the $26,580.62 for the summer camp.
That's correct.
So I have a question on that. $26,580 for summer camp? Okay. So let me look at it. So that's the full cost of the summer camp?
Yes.
And doesn't the county
Yes, they asked.
fund so much of the summer camp?
Yes.
How
And we
much?
also have 3 employees, full-time, right now,
How much does the county fund?
17. But this is the cost. You wanted to fund a program, so I gave you a cost of a program, what the cost was. And that's why I gave that sheet. We gave this is every bit of the expenses from that program. Because you did not want to fund employees, and you did not want to fund the director like any payroll, so I did not put in any of that kind of thing for this. I gave you expenses. And we do, like, as you discussed before with that incident, we do have the full-time employees, 3 of them right now. And they shift between, like, there's supposed to be 1 employee per 25 students. And the day that the incident was, there was 20 students total that day, and we had 2 employees. And there's a lot of commentary, and it's going to the insurance and that kind of thing. There will be commentary on that. And it's also, and he said the reports were filed by both the rec aid and the
Okay,
student.
I'm only reporting what was
And, yeah, I
reported to
understand
me.
that, I understand.
And,
But I just wanted to give you the information that I know of from being there, and so that you kind of had your full information. Because I understand people are gonna report to you, and you're just doing your job too, I understand.
right,
And it was the rec aides who stopped the fight, and we're talking 10-year-olds, you know, getting to a dispute
and that's gonna happen, I do realize that.
Oh, yeah.
But back to this summer camp, I don't know that I would be for funding this full amount on this summer camp.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
So do you have the numbers for the difference for the employee labor and all that was funded by the county?
Well, now the employee labor, that would be, if you don't wanna fund that, the contract fees, because we had to have a director running it. You know, that's the thing with any of these programs.
That's right. Reimbursable expenses will be anything that
Yes.
goes into it.
Yes, and so this was, we had a director, an assistant director, a custodian, and a rec aide, and that was only for the summer camp program. And we kept that exactly towards that program.
So what amount of it fell on the board, Richardson board?
Well, and honestly, if you don't wanna do, okay, let me just explain something. I put together a program budget since you did not wanna kind of be involved in hiring and all, and doing the payroll type things. So the contract fee, if you don't wanna cause that, then you could take that 16,178 off, because that was the payroll. I mean, that's the directors and all that, you have to run that with the program. And if you'd rather, you could put it towards the esport gaming competition, because that's all funding. Now, that hasn't been done, but that's the amount that was given to me from Mr. George, working with Florida Gateway College.
When will that be done?
We can start right now, he said it would have up and running by December. But that's gonna cost that much money, that has nothing to do with employees. So like if you wanted to do only a partial on the summer camp and you wanted to just do the esports, you know, that, I mean, you can choose.
It's also involved, which we are planning a fall on, so there are things that's happening, and the funding is going to go to what is happening at Richardson. We're not talking about funding directors and all that, we're talking about the things that we're trying to accomplish.
But I was trying, that's why I actually brought this thing tonight, is instead of, if you didn't really wanna do, from what we discussed the last time, if you'd rather do programs, it can be specifically programs.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
So I do believe with programs, when you have to pay people to run the programs, that's part of the reimbursable expenses. But the esports, the garden, and the children's performance, I think those are all outstanding. Esports is hot today. There's scholarship opportunities, there's tons of things that helps the children with, that they can move forward. I think those would all be reimbursable, and I think that would not be an issue. Even with that though, you're gonna go over the 40,000 we have set aside pretty quick for this
Well,
year.
And that's why I gave some options, because I'd rather do it just if you prefer, hey, I prefer this, or I prefer that. And even speaking like Mr. Johnson said about the cooking, we have to get our kitchen area, now our concession stand, we got it health approved, but we have to get the kitchen that's in the cafeteria, it would have to be approved to be able to go through teaching classes and all. It'd have to be set up for a certain.
Would those classes provide a certification at the end, like the Serve Safe or something like that?
I've been in touch with Ms. Futch, Heather Futch of the, I can't say all the initials, but she's the one that said I have to give Ms. Sally forward to get the health department to approve it all. But I didn't put that on there because I haven't started that yet. But that's something too, we're thinking, because a lot of people have said we want things for girls. Now, I've asked kids at the gym and said, hey, what do you want?
Now, culinary is not just for girls now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I should say that, I apologize.
Something else.
Men and women,
So have,
Something other than rolling the ball out.
exactly, yes.
what
Yes.
program have you began? Summer camp was already, that's been going on.
Right, that's.
Do you have any new programs?
We have we've done some we did 2 of the library programs in the summer. But the library put those on. We had 2 different programs, but I got a whole folder from her and people will come in. There was 2 different programs and she gave me a whole folder of ones that you can get. They come up from different towns and they will actually present to the children. And one other thing we're doing right now with, they're switching out the books that are in the back of the building. And they're gonna do where you walk along and read the book and then you get a free book when you're done. And we're gonna do times of that where the kids read the book and then they get the book. So that's another thing. And we do have the Hands of Change going on now and we have started fixing up the community garden. But I got jammed up on that because it started raining and we got it fixed up one time and then now it's all. But we're working on that too.
Mr. Sampson, you still have your motion or you want to modify?
I do,
Okay.
Mr. Sampson?
yes,
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
You say you want to modify it?
no, leave it how it was.
So you saying give them the whole 26,000? So what is the board, what are y'all contribution?
We paid for part of the students, we paid for 5 of the students to join the program and to do the summer camp. And I don't know, you may not know this, but I'm actually helping there free of charge. I'm on the board and pretty much running it right now. That's why, right now, like Mr. Shayla had asked what we're doing, we're basically right now just getting enough done so that we can hire a director. Because until we have funding, we cannot put an ad in the paper and ask to hire a director at a good amount of per hour if we don't have our funding. So that's why if you want to do programs, we'll take it for the programs. Then we have to go to the county. But if the county won't give us money to hire someone, we'll just have to pass it over to them because without money, you can't hire a director.
But again, like I said,
What's the board doing?
I'm all for funding for the kids.
Right.
Well,
Mr. Mayor,
Timmy
can I
did
make a
not
comment?
say is that of the kids that
We don't
participate.
need discussion, that's why I've let it go a little bit, but
Mr.
we got a
Hill,
vote going. So, Mr. Sampson was for the motion.
Wait, discussion open and we still have questions? What was that?
I thought everybody had stopped talking, so I asked Mr. Sampson if he wanted to modify it, he said no, so the motion was already made. Okay, so Mr. Sampson's for the motion.
Yes.
Mr. Jardy was
Second.
for the motion.
I second.
Okay, and then Ms. Cypress to Jake.
Yes, I was in the middle of calling roll. Mr. Sampson voted yes. Mr. Jernigan voted yes. On roll call round, Mr. Hill.
Yes.
Ms. Young?
I'm not doing the 26,000.
No. Mayor Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, can I make one more comment before they get there? One thing I'd ask for, I would like to see, we're going into budget time, your next year's full budget that shows the revenues you are bringing in. And I think that goes back to Mr. Hill's question, is what revenues is the center bringing in? Because when we looked at that budget, on the rents that you're bringing in, the cornhole, I did not see the basketball revenue from the kids that participate, but I do know that we had only asked for the time period for the end of the year, and basketball had happened in the first half of the year. But I would like to see the whole budget year laid out with what's the cost, what's the revenue that's coming in. I think that's crucial to make an ongoing decision. And that way we can see how we can help the best. Hopefully, there's some way to fund that executive director. The county needs to step up to the plate and just do it.
I agree.
I'll tell you what,
And to answer Mr. Hill's question, we did fund 5 of the kids' scholarships to the summer camp out of our funding. So it's not like we're not participating, we are.
thank you. With Mr. Sampson, I think when we do the budget next week, we will try to get budget an amount. And if we get the information on different programs like you're asking for, then as the year goes on, we can fund those together.
Okay, let's get to item 6, City Council Ordinance 2023-2254.
Ordinance number 2023-2254, an ordinance of the city of Lake City, Florida, amending chapter 12, article 2 of the city code of ordinances, providing for amendments to the composition, functions, and responsibilities of various special standing committees, providing for severability, providing for repeal of conflict, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Okay, we're moving to adoption of City Council Ordinance 2023-2254 on first reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion to approve resolution, ordinance 2023-2254.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, you call the roll.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is City Council Ordinance 2023-2255 on first reading. Can't we read that one?
Ordinance number 2023-2255, an ordinance of the city of Lake City, Florida, prohibiting smoking and vaping in public parks within the city of Lake City, Florida, providing for severability and providing an effective date.
Okay, moving to adoption of City Council Ordinance 2023-2255 on first reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion on 2023-2255 on first reading.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion on this? Ms. Sykes, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Go ahead.
How are they gonna police this?
They won't police it, they'll just,
Signs.
they put the signs up and, hopefully everybody will see the sign that says no smoking and just like everywhere else you go. Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Okay, next is City Council Ordinance 2023-2256 on first reading.
Ordinance number 2023-2256, an ordinance of the city of Lake City, Florida, amending the official zoning atlas of the city of Lake City, land development regulations as amended, relating to the rezoning of 10 or less contiguous acres of land pursuant to an application Z23-04 by the property owner of said acreage, providing for rezoning from commercial general to commercial intensive of certain lands within the corporate limits of the city of Lake City, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Is there a motion as to Ordinance 2023-2256?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion for approval of City Council Ordinance 2023-2256 on the first reading.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Sykes, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is resolution, City Council Resolution 2023-080. Can we read that by title?
City Council Resolution number 2023-080, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a contract with Bliss Products and Services, Inc. for the purchase and installation of a 24-foot in length by 30-foot in width by 12-foot in height prefabricated metal building, parentheses, pole barn, at a cost not to exceed $19,731.08.
So you have motion as City Council Resolution 2023-080.
Mr. Mayor, make the motion to approve resolution 2023-080.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion?
Yes, where is this pole barn going at?
This will be for the wastewater treatment plant, St. Barbara.
Any Any other comments, questions? Ms. Sykes, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next, City Council Resolution number 2023-081. Mr. Ken, would you read that?
City Council Resolution number 2023-081, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a contract with Advantage Contracting Group, Inc. for repairs to the existing stadium seating area of Memorial Stadium at a cost not to exceed $36,000.
Is there a motion as City Council Resolution 2023-081?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for approval of City Council Resolution 2023-081.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ready to see this one get done?
I have something, Mr. Mayor. With what was left in the budget, I'm wondering if it would be possible that, do you know the dollar amount that was left, Mr. Dial?
For,
When we set it aside for the repairs, did we set aside 150 or?
I think it was 250,000.
250? What I would like to see is, since we have that available, once this is done, would it be possible to do those, the bathrooms at the end closest to the big field, like where your event was? Because I think if we look at the cost, something similar to what I think the county had done at Rhode Island with those pretty nice restrooms. Because I will tell you this, if you've been to the restrooms there, they look much better. The crew there has made them look way better than they were, but still, we go back to the gentleman here earlier, it's gonna be kind of tough for some people to use them. But if we had them at that end too, it would allow us to do more things at that field, I believe. And since we do have, this came in a little less than I was expecting it to, it would be something I'd recommend maybe having staff look at and see what kind of costs would be on that, so that we could utilize more at that facility.
I'd like to see the estimate. Ms. Sykes, call the roll, please.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2023-082. Mr. Ken, would you read that by title?
City Council Resolution number 2023-082, a resolution of the City Council authorizing the execution and renewal of a cooperative service agreement with the CDS Family and Behavioral Health Services, Inc., providing for coordination, referral, and effective service delivery of counseling, case management, and prevention services to clients and their families, and providing for an effective date.
Is there a motion on City Council Resolution 2023-082?
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion to approve resolution 2023-082.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2023-083. Ken, would you read that?
City Council Resolution number 2023-083, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, authorizing the city by and through its Lake City Police Department to enter into an interagency agreement with the Panama City Beach Police Department for information exchange and use.
Is there a motion on City Council Resolution 2023-083?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make that motion of 2023-083.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, call the roll, please.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes, next is, item 14, we've done 13, City Council Resolution 2023-90. Mr. Kenny, would you read that by title?
City Council Resolution number 2023-090, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, authorizing the city to accept and approve the minor subdivision plat titled Bailey's Code, subject to all conditions, provisions, and requirements of the city's Code of Ordinances, land development regulations, and comprehensive plan as amended, accepting the dedication shown on the plat, accepting the completion of all existing and future public improvements as are required for the subdivision, authorizing execution and recording of the plat, providing for the recordation of the plat, and providing for an effective date.
Is there a motion on City Council Resolution 2023-90?
Mr. Mayor, make the motion to approve resolution 2023-90.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just so council knows, this was worked on extensively by Ms. Adams, working with Angelo, North Florida Regional Planning Council, and Scott Brett, the surveyor for the project.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. So the North Florida Regional Planning Council didn't sign off on everything?
I'm not sure about that. Ms. Adams handled that, but we had an issue with the road. We got it resolved. It was the way the original plat was depicted with the cul-de-sac at the end that caused, I believe.
I couldn't tell by the way that it was written, but were there any exceptions to the normal LDR?
And then they also added from the original considerations, a dedication off of lot 4 to make the necessary
I saw that.
Use for city utilities.
Okay, any other comment? Ms. Sykes, can you call the roll?
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Webb?
Yes. Okay, next Department of Administration, we've got dates of interest, but nobody to date. On comments of council, I want to apologize to Ms. Young and Mr. Hill. I think I jumped the gun moving a little forward, so I'll try to make sure everybody's done with their comments before.
No, you're fine, Mayor. But I got a comment of council. Did y'all want to say something? Did y'all just hear, observe it?
We were here to, one, as a requirement for the Scouts rank, but we have a young man here who participated in the Students Working Against Tobacco, for which I am a member of that group also. The park resolution
Okay.
to, for no vaping and smoking in public parks, so we were here for that.
Okay. Now, I'd like to take this, excuse me, take this moment to thank everyone that's in this room that came out Saturday to my community event. It was a great success. I won't try to name all the sponsors that I had, because I don't have my list with me, so I don't want to leave anybody out. But it was a great success. We gave out over 100 book bags. Had plenty of good food. I think everybody enjoyed themselves, and we're looking forward to next year. We're planning for it next year. So again, thanks everybody for coming out.
Okay, and I want to thank y'all for coming and sitting through this meeting. It's not been too long, it's about our average anymore. Anybody else got any comments?
Yes, sir. I don't know on our updates. We'll get that on at the next meeting. Our update.
Yes, ma'am. We're gonna start doing them maybe once a month or like every other meeting, because a lot of the things are not really having any updates on. And we're gonna try to wait till we get some significant progress on. Basically, we've just started back on all and everything.
Okay, and I kind of want to see us get tied up with grant writer.
Ms. Sykes had something.
Grant writer.
Grant writer?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I agree with you on
Go
that.
ahead and do what we need to do to get a grant writer in place.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir, under the comments here, I've had a couple of constituents, they have different things to request or say about the meetings and what goes on with planning. I would definitely like to see a lot better communication amongst us as well as the public. That is so important. But we have these experts that knows how to get things done, but they're behind the scene. So I would definitely love to see those experts come in and give us some good communication skills on what they think that would make this city run the proper way. So communication is going to be the key to that. So just keep that in mind, communication. And I really appreciate everybody for what they've done to assist me in communication. So it's a work in progress for all of us. So communication is definitely the key, communication.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to remind you guys, I will be out of town next week. Actually, my vacation starts on Friday. I'm literally taking a vacation. I am so sorry I will not be here for the budget workshops, but my deputy will definitely handle the meetings in my absence. Okay?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved.
All in favor?
Nice meeting you too, sir.